When it's gone, we can't get it back. And I fear that we will see the concrete being torn up soon, and people say, too bad, it's gone.
Problem with Kesey, honestly, is that it was a space that had a building on it at one time. And then in the history of Eugene, we mauled in all of the downtown. When we mauled in the downtown, this little thing was part of a larger public expanse. And then when we opened the streets up again, we have this little awkward section here on the corner called Kesey Plaza, which has some blank walls and difficult spaces, and it's never really functioned really well. We've worked hard to program it, we've done all kinds of stuff with it, but it just hasn't worked very well. So the question at hand right now is there a way we can activate it to make it work better, or do we need to use it differently? Is this perhaps, is it the place that should have a building put back where it used to be? Or is it a place that you find that you want to protect as public space? I think there's a big question there.
On October 12th, 2015, longtime downtown business owner Ali Amami discovered that the city of Eugene planned to sell Kesey Square. Once the deal was made public, the people of Eugene became very vocal on the subject. In response to the public outcry, the city issued a request for expression of interest and arranged a public forum to discuss public spaces on December 2nd. Who are you? Where are we? What's going on?
I'm Zane Kesey, and we're here downtown at a meeting to come up with ideas of what to do with all the open spaces in Eugene.
What was the impetus for this meeting?
Kesey Square was what I was told, and why I came, and it seems like why most of the people came. And boy, they came up with a lot of good ideas.
Look at this room. I mean, honestly, we as Eugene, we can figure out how to share public spaces together in a way that works. We can figure a way to make this feel good to everyone, not just for some of us, but for all of us.
What do you think the motivation is to do this?
Some people don't like the people who are hanging out there. Everybody needs a place to be. And we're not going to get rid of the transients by destroying one more place. They have to be, people have to be somewhere.
They have a problem with the undesirables being aggressive, and I understand that, and they don't want to be seen as forcing them out, and I understand that. And so the trick is to come up with unwritten solutions where you're not saying that that's what you're trying to do, but you're still achieving that.
In terms of urban design, some of the issues that exist is its size. A lot of folks consider it to be very small in terms of a public space, so one cultural group will occupy the space and other folks don't feel comfortable sharing it. That the two walls, there are two inactive walls, to use sort of design terminology, inactive, just that they're dead spaces.
I think some of the people who have businesses have complained, but I think they're short-sighted. That if we need places to sit all over downtown, where just people can sit without spending money. If they're down, and everybody has to stop walking sometime, and they're more likely to stay downtown if they can sit down for a while and talk, and then do something else maybe. Downtown belongs to everybody. It doesn't just belong to people who have businesses there. It belongs to the whole city, and it should be open to everybody.
To me, Eugene has always been this: the absolute Woodstock hippie and the logger, and how they get along, and they do. There is that place, and the Saturday market is a good example of it. The number one thing I said to them was, look, yeah, there's a problem, and yes, maybe selling the place is the answer. Well, let's try all the other answers first.
We've tried to activate it with programming. We've tried to activate it with food carts. But there are many, many times when it is just vacant. We've put public art there, something that people come by, and even visitors to Eugene come and they sit with Kesey and they take their picture with Kesey, which is so awesome just to watch people engage with that piece of public art. Even with all of that, it's vacant the majority of the time. Or it's used by people who have no other place to go, and it's not necessarily a safe place to be when that's the case. Places that are active have all kinds of people, all kinds of incomes, all kinds of walks of life in a space. It's safer, it's more inviting.
So what would you like to see happen to that space?
I am so interested to hear the result of the conversation that the community is having now.
Right, so our top three, we have a tie for one of them, but we really, really love the idea of having a covered or permanent Saturday market or farmers market space, and also more public restrooms. And tied in third place, better services for mental health and addiction treatment, as well as priority on law enforcement.
Access to public restrooms. And our group went from the map that was on the table to the picture that was up there, and a lot of those empty rooftops, using the rooftops downtown.
A downtown cahoots additional services that's committed to only the downtown 24/7.
Social services for folks. And then the second top vote getter was a downtown community center with recreation programming both indoor and outdoor, and perhaps an idea to combine those two into one kind of full-scale facility.
Attractive tables, not card tables. And the tables should be stationary, or at least heavy, and chairs that can be moved from place to place so that people can form groups. And Ali Imami wants to open up the walls, and that would be a good thing, and the city should help him do that.
From the beginning, like what happened in 1995? You put
I put a request, for opening the walls. Took them about 9 years, to answer. In 2004, they said that I can do it on my own cost. Also, I have to find tenants, and also it's going to be revocable permit. And I found tenants. I sent them to the city, and city did not help them. Actually advised them not to put that much money in my building. And they left. And that tenant was basically Ninkasi Brewery. And so after 2004, there was nothing about it, no talk about the developing the square, and the issue went basically dead. And on October 12th of this year, I heard that they're selling it again to a group of developers to put apartments there.
We brought new uses to the three buildings that surround it. We worked very intensively with the owners. We essentially built back brick by brick the Broadway Commerce Center. We helped the owner of the Broadway Lofts, which is where the Bijou is and Townsend's is.
And those are all huge successes and wonderful. But it's like specifically what's going on now with the thing. Yeah.
So we've done everything we could to activate that corner.
What have you done to activate that corner?
By bringing activities to surrounding.
Okay,
then,
near.
Okay, right? Then we said, okay, what are we going to do in the plaza itself? Plaza itself is hard to program. It doesn't have what my cultural services colleagues would call back of house. It actually has two blank walls, and it opens to an intersection.
What was your plan to do with it? You wanted to do what to the walls?
To open the walls, and and I also gave them a proposal or a concept, for public-private partnership in putting a microbrewery and kitchen startups as incubators, for actually contributing to economic development.
He's thinking of leasing a part of his, if he could open the walls, leasing that side of his building. And we'd still have the open space there. And obviously, the city has never helped him. We've helped other businesses. I don't know why we haven't helped him do something to improve the area.
The developers, Downtown Eugene Incorporated, have been working with the city for 2 years on the proposal for their apartment building. The public has been allowed 5 weeks to submit RFEI, request for expression of interests.
RFEI. We talked about that, right? It's biased. It's not. It's excludes people from participation. It has a very short time span. It's about 5 weeks. And it costs me right now, if I want to put a proposal together, it costs about $40,000 just to give to the architects, to put a plan for you together. Mm-hmm. And so it's not a fair game, and it's biased. And the reason for that is that they are in a hurry and they want to, as they indicated, in the press, they want to, start building in May.
Yeah.
So that's that tells you that about that process.
After all these interviews and the forum, I heard a lot of things, but never did I hear anyone ardently advocate for apartments. Even the most prominent critics of the square seem to harbor some hope for its salvation.
There have been proposals, for example, of piercing through those walls to activate them, right? So that is an option. If, for example, there were residential housing on top of the existing buildings adjacent to Kesey Square, or active businesses adjacent to Kesey Square that had those piercing through them, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation because then in that way the public space could totally work.
I think the space is challenging in and of itself, but I think that if we want it to work as a public open space, if we want to keep it there, then we have to think about the design of the space and what we need to change. We need to think about programming in the space and what we want to keep going, and then we need to think about how we manage the space and how that is done on an ongoing basis. So we do design, programming, and management of the space, and then I think it could work.
You don't want to give up your public spaces easily, unless you think by giving up one public space you can create another one that will function better for the community. That's a council decision and a community debate right now.
A week after the public forum, and long before the stated January 15th deadline for proposals, the Chamber of Commerce endorsed the developer's plan. The developers, Downtown Eugene Incorporated, and the Chamber of Commerce share multiple board members. So they have essentially endorsed their own plan.
First of all, that public, forum came after city manager had lobbied, the city councilors, which is kind of a weird process, but I think because of the public pressure, they had to come up with that forum, and the forum's results were not really published by, the city, and so what I think is going to happen, I think they just they set up that as a formality, to justify, that they asked public, but we're going to sell it.
We need more people to get involved. When it's gone, we can't get it back. And I fear that we will see the concrete being torn up soon, and people say, too bad, it's gone.
Exactly. I mean, that was my feeling, and and I've heard that it's already like that. It's already a done deal. That it's they have most of the city councils except for you and somebody else, and it's done. Is it over? Is this just a fake meeting to pretend like they're doing a public inquiry?
I don't know. I think I've seen meetings where the results are what was wanted in the first place.